Welcome back to Raise Your Voice. Wow, it has been literally like 2 to 3 weeks since I made an episode. I know, you guys missed me. But anyway, welcome back. This is episode 6. We left off on episode 5 when we were joined by a few artists. I just want to say thank you guys so much for being so patient with this series. I know I've been literally ghosting on this series for a few weeks, but I'm back, and my break was very nice, and I'm excited to keep on working on this. Today we brought some guest speakers.
I'm Jojo8106. I've been on highrise since like mid-June of 2018. I'm really just floating. Like, you might catch me at one moment, like in an art post, and then you might catch me the other posting 600 giveaways.
Hello, I'm Binderclip. I've been on highrise since like early 2016, and I'm a starving and striving artist.
Hi, I'm iRussia, and wow, you guys are pretty like old players. I actually just joined High Rise in January, and I'm here for dressing up over everything. Surprisingly, I didn't expect to like this game as much as I did, but I pretty much got addicted to it.
Since you guys all said when you joined, I also joined mid-June 2018, kind of, and like you said, I also got sucked in, and I've been here for 2 years, so yay, addiction! That's who's joining us today. Just a reminder that they all signed up to join using the form that I am going to link down in the description of literally every single podcast episode. Anyone's free to sign up as long as you're playing Highrise. Obviously, if you're not playing Highrise, why are you trying to join the show? So yeah, just sign up, and maybe I'll include you in a next episode. Anyway, let's get started. So, today's episode is going to be all about that shmoney, all about that gold. Literally, it's just going to be about gold. It's going to be about gold and the economy, specifically on Highrise. So, we're going to start with talking about how gold is earned. So, what are some things that new players can learn when it comes to earning gold?
Okay, so earning gold can be done through like watching videos, selling items, getting crew gifts, and of course, buying it. So as you're starting out, it's pretty easy to get older players to donate some unwanted items. Some people will be nice about it, some people won't. But with those items, you can sell them in your storefront and then save up and buy more expensive items. And through those ways, you can just start adding up your gold and becoming, a little bit more experienced on the game. Sometimes people don't like it that brand new players are like learning to beg for items within minutes of creating accounts. But the number one way that I got items was just by talking to people. Normally they give you things on their own free will. So yeah.
Yeah, I've always thought it was really hard to believe that like new players know how to ask for donations when they just started. Like, you don't really know that exists when you're first joining Highrise. Like, for
Right.
me, I literally I didn't know you could just ask people for stuff, and like to see that so many people like daily are asking me like, hey, can I have this item? Like, I didn't know
Right.
that you're able to do that when I joined. So I don't know who taught them that, but like
Well, like also like the alternate accounts and stuff, like you never know.
yeah, some people are scummy. But anyway.
Oh my god, there's been so many times where people pretend to be players and they're just like, I want free things, and then you see someone else wearing it, and you're just like, oh. But I mean, ever since I've been playing, there's definitely been the new players begging for stuff. I have no idea how it started. But I remember myself being one of those people because it's still hard to get money. I see fewer and fewer new players staying. I think that the reason they ask because it's really the only way they can gain items.
Yeah.
Because nowadays with the economy and everything changing, 50 gold is pretty much nothing compared to say 200. Even with the rewards that we have, like Tapjoy sucks. Like, I've done
Yeah.
it so many times and I've gotten nothing. The only thing that really works is watching the videos for like 2 gold.
Sometimes it's 5 if you get lucky. Sometimes it's 5.
Dang, you right.
Oh,
Get that
whoa.
coin.
Yeah, with the daily videos, you can get like 2 gold or like a block, but I don't know about you. I don't want a grass block. So it's kind of like a hit or miss. And even if the player does save up to spin the grab, they will most likely end up with a rare item they can only sell for 50 gold anyways, which is really annoying. So I quite understand how they want you to give them an item. I try to, but only if I feel like they actually genuinely have nothing. Because I've definitely had those players that are completely decked out and stuff, and they just want something for free. And I'm like, I think you're fine.
Like I've always thought that it's definitely 100% possible to work from the ground up to earn your items in gold. Like even to a lot of new players it seems really daunting and really like impossible, but I promise like it's possible. Like with enough patience and work you can get all the items you want just as long as you put enough work into it. And for me, I've always advocated to new players that are asking for like advice that eventing is the best way you can earn gold, because all you have to do is just event and then you get stuff and then you just sell it and then bam bam bam, you just earn your stuff that way. But like you said, I've always had a problem with how highrise sets up like the free offers to earn gold, like by especially by watching ads, because highrise literally, like you said, gives you like nothing. Like 2G, 2 to 5G, what is that? That's barely anything. And maybe like back then that might have been worth like a tiny bit, but I mean, and now that the economy like keeps on inflating, like that small amount of G is literally like almost nothing, and it really sucks.
Oh yeah, definitely. I find that a lot of people are kind of rude to new players, and I don't know if it's just the people I surround myself around, but I'd say a few months ago in an old crew I used to be in, they'd constantly complain about new players asking for stuff, and I'm just like, starting out, especially this far out the game it's kind of hard to gain items. And especially if you don't explain to them, especially how like the eventing works, because honestly I barely know how it works at this point.
Oh my god. Spend money. That's literally the way.
Yeah.
Spend money.
So I think it's kind of hard for them, and I try to explain to the few new people that want to listen how everything works, and a lot of times they kind of find it discouraging because I kind of explained to them how item pricing works, and they kind of just get all twisted and confused.
Right.
But I think people should like think twice about how little they have and how much they have, because all your items might not seem a lot to you, but to a new player it's little. I'm not saying you have to give everything out to new people, but just to think twice about it. If you're not using this shirt you got from a bubble grab,
Yeah. Or if you have like 300 of one thing.
Because we all know everyone spins the grab multiple times.
Right.
I agree. Like old players, definitely try your best to help incoming players. Like you don't have to donate in order to help people, but you can like just share advice and share like, oh, this is how I got started, maybe it'll work for you too. Like that helps with a lot of new players, especially if they have zero clue of what they're doing in the game, because like highrise doesn't tell you like how everything works when you join. They just like give you the basic, here's how you move and here's how you place items and stuff. Like these new players don't know what they're doing when they're coming into highrise, so you certainly don't need to be like rude and standoffish to players just because they're asking you for help. Like you can, even if you don't want to help, you can just be like, oh yeah, sorry, I can't help you right now, like, or you can refer them to someone who can help. Like just try your best to help the people who are joining. I don't know how hard it can be.
Right. Another note to add, though, and I've asked a few people about this actually, and I kind of understand. With going back with the fact that not a lot of new players are staying, a lot of people are skeptical that if they give these items to new players, they'll just end up quitting, and then the items are just stuck on their accounts, and then what do you do? So it's kind of like a hit or miss, you need to judge it right, or just based on like how you are, so that makes sense too.
Well, I mean, the question is, how valuable of items are they giving it?
Right,
Are they
right.
giving out epics or anything, which I think is kind of crazy? Or are they giving out some rare they got from a gift from some event like a few months ago? Like, is it
Right.
really worth it? I mean, if you're giving out epics to new players, I mean, you do you, man. I don't think that's a smart idea. But I understand like that they're worried that the item's not being used and it's kind of sitting there, but like, is it really valuable?
I used to try to refer my friends to highrise, and I used to give them like free stuff because I was like, oh, here, I'll help you get started. But then they never actually started playing. So like all my items are just there and they're not using it because they don't play anymore. If you want to donate but you're scared of like all your items becoming inactive and stuff, just give something that like you literally don't use, or like that probably might not even sell, even though like, yeah, you know it won't sell and you know it might not really help them. To them, it's a big gesture and they might feel more inclined to stay if people are helping them, even if in your mind you know that it might not actually help them, but it helps.
Right.
Everything helps.
I've just never been good with money in any game and real life money. I'm poor. I've never had a constant flow of gold. It's like not as much that is coming in is twice as much as leaving. So I don't do commissions. No one wants to buy things from my storefront. Like, I got gold twice, and one of them was that like $20 pack that comes with like Sky Club for a week.
Right.
And Sky Club was disabled.
Oh.
So, just for new players, I fully suggest game rooms. I endorse game rooms. CTL is like my favorite thing ever. That's how I got started. So, like,
Oh man, I remember game
Me
rooms.
too.
They were really big.
I literally only play pageants.
Me too, actually. Pageant
so
and
fun.
CTL are both my
Yeah.
favorite.
I'll literally just play anything. Like, even if I don't know what's happening.
I definitely 100% agree. Game rooms are such a good way to get started, and it's really sad that they're not as popular as they used to be. Like nowadays when I look at the the room directory, like I don't see any game rooms. I only see like maybe one with like 5 players. Like they're not as popular as they used to be. Like back in my day, they used to be like full, like the top of the top of the room directory, like every single day, and it was just so fun to play and stuff. But now they're like not popular anymore. But anyway, that was off topic. But like a little funny story, like just to poke it in there. When I first started, I also played a lot of game rooms, and someone tried to give me a prize for winning a game, and I was like really shocked and embarrassed because I didn't have anything to trade back, because I thought that's how trading worked, like you had to give something back. So I just canceled the trade and apologized, and they never talked to me again, and I was really scared. But anyway, but yes, I heavily endorse game rooms as well. And my mindset when it comes to earning gold and getting items that I really want is that it all just takes time and effort. Like I said, it all takes the patience and the hard work, and it takes a lot of learning and trial and error to find out what works for you and what might not work for you. And a lot of people have asked me how do you earn gold without like buying anything, because I never bought gold in my entire life. I can't. I don't have money. Like, I have to tell them that you don't have to buy gold to have it. Like, you don't need to spend a single cent on the game to, be where you want to be. And it's like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I know it's really difficult to start in highrise, especially without that little boost of buying gold. But, if you just keep on learning and keep on trying your best, you'll get there. And literally, if you're scared of like asking for advice, this episode is literally free advice. This entire episode is literally free advice.
There's really no incentive for hard work on the game.
Yeah.
The only like real guaranteed way is to buy it. And I think the really only reason like artists on highrise stay is because they have a constant income. And they really don't need to, buy money or play like pageants or anything like that to keep the money they have. There's no reward system or anything. Yeah, there's like the daily, like, click a bunch of people and like them and you get bubbles, but bubbles really don't do much.
Right.
Like veteran players don't get any rewards for progressing in the game. Um, the game itself really can't grow. And I mean, even with high-rise beta, you've seen that it's more evolved than grown itself, meaning like they kind of just made everything fancier. There's nothing different than, the games now. There's no long-term goals. After the tutorial, players are kind of just like left in the room after Jimmy goes away, and you're like, what do I do now? Kind of like Club Penguin, there's games to play. Like there's the whole JoJo thing, and like of course I spent hours playing it, and I got to the ninja level. So like that in a way is, I guess you could say, leveling up. And you also get badges and stuff on Club Penguin. And Club Penguin also is a virtual world, just like Highrise. There used to be games. There was the Connect 4 and the fishing game. And I remember they were very nice, very fun. I don't really remember how much money or even bubbles or anything you got from them. I don't really remember. It's just been so long. Because I know when they started tinkering with Highrise, they just completely removed Connect 4 and fishing and they were just done with it. I really wish they'd bring them back because I really think it would entice more players to come in. And I know in beta, when like the first version of beta came out, they made a new game.
Yes,
I don't know where it went. Yeah, I don't know where it went because I tried checking on new beta because I'm like, oh, it has to be somewhere, and I clicked on everything, and I don't know if it's gonna come back or anything. And I know there's also the whole spinning grab level thing.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wait, what is that?
Oh, you weren't. I don't think you were even here when that came out.
Oh.
It was like this, like on beta you could like spin grabs for free, and then just they're not like grabs like we have now. They were just like the like common like untradeable items.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just spin them for free.
I was like, what are you talking about? And then I was like, I got vivid flashbacks.
Me too. I also got I completely forgot about it. They just maybe they're like purposely trying to make us ignore it. I literally forgot it.
Yeah. And like I think surrounding the entire game about spinning grabs is not a good idea. Like I understand the whole free grab spinny thing. Like I think that's cool, especially for like newer players who want cute outfits. I think that's good. But there's no reason to keep playing, really.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Like artists, well, some of them have a constant income, so it's kind of like a job,
Right.
But if you're not, say, even people are building rooms now. That's a big thing that's starting now. People are decorating other players' rooms for gold. So that, again, is kind of like a constant income. So really, the only goal of the game, I guess you could say, is to spin the grab and get the legendaries. That's kind of it. And like, yeah, there's events, but the events also focus around certain grabs. And the only real way to get really high on the leaderboards is either to devote thousands of hours, spinning or pressing or whatever you do for the grab at that point, or just spinning the grab to get the legendary and having all built up or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just think that it's kind of hard for really anyone to consistently play. Because, I mean, we're all addicted. I figured that out.
Yeah.
I just think hard work on the game is kind of hard, especially for newer players, because there's no end goal.
Definitely. Like when I first joined, like again, like you said, for artists, I definitely relate. Like there is that constant like flow of income. So it was easier for me personally to start off in high rise because I had that. But I understand like it's really difficult for newer players, especially nowadays with the really messed up economy. It's really difficult to start and like see an end goal. Like as you said, there's like basically no replay value. Like as soon as you log on, like what's really the point of coming back, There isn't anything special for when you come back. I don't know how to explain it, but like I don't know, it really sucks that like high-rise doesn't really add any like special like new things that would entice players to keep coming back, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, have you guys seen their ads?
Yes. Oh no.
Because I've
They're
even
not even
seen
accurate.
they're not
Not
really at
accurate.
all. Yeah, and I see them pop up on Instagram and everything, and now I'm seeing them on Tinder, which is an
Oh,
entirely new thing, which I think is funny.
oh.
Like they're not accurate at all. Like that's not how highrise is. That's what we call false advertisement.
Exactly. All right, so as we mentioned a lot of times, being a new player then versus now is definitely changing. Like, it's always changing. Like, the community and the economy was so much friendlier, in my opinion, and fair back then, and now it just seems a billion times harder for anyone to get to start getting the hang of how highrise is working now, especially since there's no one really helping them through this process of like learning the ins and outs of highrise. So, we're gonna talk about the new versus the old economy and what has changed over time when it comes to buying and selling. And I really like that I picked you guys for this episode because you guys all joined at different times and we get different perspectives on this topic specifically. So, what has changed, do you guys think?
So I think we can all agree that the biggest thing is the prices. I'm a pretty new player, but already like in my crew and stuff, I hear oh, like remember when this used to be this price, or oh, remember when this used to be this cheap, and then like they say, oh yeah, that was a year ago, or oh, that was 2 years ago. Oh, well, now it's 100K,
Oh.
you know? So that's so shocking. So we can agree that the prices of some already expensive items are getting more expensive. And that makes sense because I feel like as highrise does become more popular, people are spending more money on the game. And of course, we can also thank crews and events and pretty much status quos. It's not a bad thing, it just makes it a bit harder to keep up with. So I do notice that, and I don't know how old you guys are, but something that I do notice is that some old players on the game are a bit older. So I understand that maybe they have jobs, or you know, they're getting actual money that they have to spare on the game. But a lot of the new players seem to be younger, and I think that is something else we can blame for the like fluctuation of the prices.
So I did mention this sort of topic in a previous episode, and I definitely agree that people are starting to willingly spend more for items, and that's kind of inflating prices. I do hear that people complain that people are overpricing their items and they're the ones to blame for these super expensive items, but you know, if people are willingly paying that overpriced price, they're also kind of the ones to blame for allowing that price to like exist and be like validated, you know, if that makes sense.
Just a quick note, like I don't know if you guys pay attention to like this sort of thing. I do, but so like an example is the item like so much bokeh, whatever, the flashy thing. It went from like 20K and then it skyrocketed to 30K, and then like 2 weeks ago someone paid 50K for it, so now it's 50K, and now I'm hearing crews say that oh, we're gonna price it 75K now. So it's like,
I
oh
didn't
my
even know that, and I own it. What?
Yes, so it's like, oh my gosh, like these things are getting like overpriced within days, you know, within weeks. And it's like, wow, like you wonder if these things will go up to the prices of, you know, some things are 300K or 700K for a pair of eyes. Like, oh my gosh. Anyway.
It really sucks. Like, a lot of my dream items personally, like I can't even come close to affording anymore, but I used to be able to afford them back then, but now I can't because they're so overpriced. But like it's so frustrating, like especially if you're a new player and you're just learning this, like that prices can go all the way up to like even 1,000,000 gold, like Medusa ring.
Oh my god.
If you're just now learning this, I'm so sorry, but that's the reality of highrise. Like that won't change even if we like fight against it. Like that stuff can't change, unfortunately. But I mean, maybe I'm just being pessimistic, but like, you know.
No, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
The prices are crazy. Just I've tried to explain them between players, and they're like, "What?" The economy has really changed from when I started. I noticed the game used to be kind of more fun-based rather than item-based because when I started, events didn't exist or there really weren't crews or anything. Um, the whole storefront, everything was completely different than it is now. Um, People more interested in kind of having friends on the game rather than paying like thousands for some random item. Um, again, crews didn't exist, so it was a lot harder to connect with people. Um, and it wasn't as easy to get money as it is now, in a sense that money just didn't matter. When I really started playing, the whole caveman thing came out, and that's when we got the face paints and the necklaces and all of that.
Wow.
So, that's kind of where people started to get really into the outfits and they thought they were cute because, like, then the baby outfit came out and it was, people went crazy for that. But the economy definitely did change as better grabs came out. And then I think Highrise kind of noticed, hey, people really like these grabs. And then everything kind of just became more grab centered. Um, and there, I don't know if you guys remember the old storefront,
Nope.
but
It didn't
Oh, I heard
exist.
about it.
but it's where it's kind of like eBay, in a sense that you could post an item, set a price, and people could just click buy, and they just get the item.
Must be nice.
It was very nice. It was very nice. I very much enjoyed it because, like, at the time I was in like the 10th grade, and I could just like put some unicorn pants up for sale, and when I came home from school, I'd be like, "Oh, cool, they sold," and I just collect my money and I just keep playing. I thought that was very nice, and I think we should bring it back. I know there's been petitions to bring it back, and highrise just said LOL, not happening. And I really highrise, if you're listening, please bring it back. Crews definitely changed the game when they first came out. um you could have a group of 50 people, all in one giant group chat, and when they bought gold, your entire crew would get a gift, like a paper or bronze or whatever, and
Yeah.
that was good. That also gave you money. That gave you bubbles, and sometimes you get like little like spins or whatever.
Hmm.
um and then when eventing came out, like the whole casino and everything, like that really made the economy just skyrocket because then people were more likely to spin the grab for the event than they were before. um there was no legendaries when I started. The
Oh,
first
wow.
legendary was the legendary hair, which is from that the hair grab, the first one.
Oh wow.
um and I remember everyone wanted it. That and the golden ribbon hair, that was just like, that was everything to people.
Simpler
Aw.
times.
I just
Yeah.
sold the golden ribbon hair too. Like I sold it yesterday.
For how
Damn.
much?
Well, she said that 500 was fine, but then she asked for 400, but then
Oh
she
my
asked for
gosh.
300.
Oh no.
I sold it for 300.
Oh my goodness. I remember.
Wow,
I
that's
remember. Yeah, that used to
crazy.
be like 1K. Like it used to be like a
I-
really coveted thing.
Yeah. See, that's funny because I will still sell it for 1K.
Oh.
So I think that brings us to our next topic. I don't know.
Get that coin, sis.
So moving on, now we're going to talk specifically about pricing. Like, how are items priced? Are there rules to pricing? And how has pricing just evolved in general as well?
Okay, so pricing on highrise is pretty much undefined. There's no set price for anything that exists in the game. When you first start out, it's easy to think that the labels on the items, like the rare, epic, legendary labels, it's easy to think that that determines the item's worth. And actually, a lot of people get into fights about this sort of thing. But on highrise, it really seems to be all about supply and demand. So if an item suddenly makes its way into being a new trend, like Snoop feet, bubblegum mouth, bokeh, or angry brows, or even like you're saying, the caveman paints and stuff, we will see the price drastically increase. And it doesn't matter if it's a rare, pretty much. For top crew items or like model items or dredge items, they actually make group chats. The top 10 people make the group chats and they determine what the price range is going to be. So most times the top 10 dredge item means that there's only 10 of these items that exist in the game. So for hairstyles especially, the price tends to range into like hundreds of thousands of golden bars, like heart buns or oversized locks and stuff like that. People obviously like to fight when it comes to prices, but when it comes down to it, it is pretty much supply and demand. And unfortunately, if you don't like the price, you're gonna have to find a cheaper one, or you're not gonna get it.
It's a harsh reality, though. Like,
Yeah,
really.
yeah, pretty much.
Like, a little story, again, poking my little story in there. I remember one time, this was like a few weeks ago, a new player messaged me asking me, like, how much are rares usually? And I was like, it depends on what rare you're talking about. And they just kept on going back and forth with me, like she kept on saying, like, okay, I understand, but how much are rares usually worth? And I was just like, okay, ready? This item, Mushroom Tails, can range from 10 to 13k, but some grab rares can barely sell for 10. So it just depends. Like, it just fluctuates and it depends. Like, especially like you said, like the labels on the items don't mean like anything, honestly. It just means like, for grabs, it just means like, you know, the chance that you'll get the item, but literally it all just comes down to supply and demand, like you said.
The price really depends on what the elites decide, because the elites are the people who get the items first, who gets the legendaries first, and whoever gets the higher legendaries from the events. Like, they decide it, you know. It's also supply and demand. The more people want an item, the more, you know, is. Like, for the bubblegum mouth, I remember at one point it was like 30k, and now it's just like a number I can't comprehend.
Like 115.
Oh my god.
Yeah, literally. Like, just the other day, I saw that someone was selling for 90k, and now it's like over 100.
Yeah,
and I'm
it's way over.
It's just like items just drop and then rise over and over and over again, and it's just like you said, supply and demand. Like, I don't know how to keep on like pounding that into people's brains, but it's literally all supply and demand. And like, the reason I was thinking about this topic a lot is because I saw a post one time saying how like this girl was like saying that a certain group of people made these rules about the prices, so that's how prices work. And in my brain I was like, there's no rules or anything to it. It's just supply and demand. Like, that's the only number one rule. It changes all the time. Like, there's no specific people that are making up rules on pricing. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, you know.
No, but like on the other hand, like in case you are a new player and you're listening to this and like that discourages you, keep in mind that at the same time there are hairs in the game that used to be like 50k, 60k and are now down to like 20k, 30k. So like it really all depends. And also, I think it depends on who's wearing it too, because some people, you know, with a lot of followers, they have people that are always looking at their outfits and stuff, and it's pretty possible that one person wears something new and then suddenly everybody wants it. So that can also happen.
It's kind of like real life. Like, you know, like influencers do this thing and everyone suddenly wants to do it. It's basically the same thing.
Like lights for your room that change colors.
Yeah. That wasn't a thing until like TikTok was like, whoa, LED lights.
Right. Story. At the time I was trying to just like make quick gold, so I was selling everything in my storefront for 50. One like pops in and they go, yeah, this is worth 500, and I was like, oh. Another add-on to that story. Yeah. Someone else in for that item and they were like, I'll pay 50 for it, and I was like, I was told it was worth 500, so I'm selling 500.
And then they hate you.
So he left, and I thought that was the end of the conversation. Then he tagged me in a post of him buying it for 70.
Oh,
I hate when people do that.
That's petty.
That's petty. Yep.
Okay. Hi, everyone listening. Don't do that. That's bullying. Like,
that is literally bullying.
There's no set price. If she wants to sell it for 500, that's her choice. You know, is it gonna sell for 500? Maybe.
Probably not.
But, you know, don't attack her because you don't like it. That's
Right.
bullying.
Yeah, that's just wasting your time on someone else's deal. Like, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I really about like that bullying stuff, like it's just unnecessary. Like, what's the point in calling someone out like that? Like, if you don't like it, just move on. Like, it's not your problem. They don't
There's other
care.
people selling it. You can buy it somewhere
Yes,
else.
You can,
Right.
If
Yeah.
you don't
Look
like
on-
it, move
Yeah.
on. People who let other people know that they're selling really, really low, angels, absolute angels. Because
We applaud you.
Because personally, if I see a deal that's like really, really good, I'm sorry, but I have to take it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, that just reminded me, like, someone was selling. I'm just gonna tell my sins right now. But someone was selling this item worth 1K for 10G, and I was like, do I buy it? And I was like, yes, I'm gonna buy it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I have to. My
my gosh.
internal, like, money making, like, self, it needs that. It needs the deal.
I'm really, really bad at pricing items. So when someone comes up and tells me like this is worth this, that's what I'm gonna go off of.
Our next topic is about elites. Like it was mentioned earlier, elites do have a big impact on the economy, but how big is that impact? And actually, let's start off with, what's your guys' definition of an elite? Is there any like specific like stereotype that comes to mind?
Right. Okay. Well, I feel like that's like a hard topic. I don't know. Like, you never know. Which I guess this comes with like, I don't know, elites or I don't know. You know, I hope I don't get attacked for this. But elites, they're interesting because they're defined, I think, as like a wealthy player who several expensive items. You know, most of the time they're using their storefront as a display. They're normally in a high-ranking crew, or they have like a content creator's badge, or they have like a huge following. You know, there's someone that you can really pick out in a room. You know, and I'm pretty sure that when I say, or when someone says elite, a couple of players pop into your mind. Like, you know exactly what they look like. You know who they are. But anyway, I feel like it's a harsh topic to talk about because something that I do notice about elites is that they pretty much band together, you know, which is an amazing thing. You know, once you do, I don't know who considers you an elite, or I don't know how you become an official elite, but once you break that boundary, I think you'll see that it's a really united community. It's a pretty strong community, just like elites in general. But at the same time, it does create a big gap in like elites versus everybody else, or like elites versus like new players, you know.
I just want to say, like, not all content creators, I would say, are elites.
Right.
Because a lot of the content creators are artists,
Yes.
or they have like interesting pages, you know, kind of like HR memes.
Right.
Like one of my good friends, she got verified after like 3 or 4 days of having highrise in general, and she
Wow.
posted like 4 drawings, and Rena Rosie gave her a content creator badge. How you get one, I don't know, but
Luckily,
I
I
really
have an
wouldn't.
episode about that.
I really wouldn't consider content creators elites simply because the badges kind of don't mean much.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing about elites is that they do have a big effect on the economy of high-rise. Like we mentioned earlier, it's common that an elite will wear an item, and then suddenly all elites are wearing the item, and then suddenly all of high-rise is wants to wear the item. So that's a big influence on pricing. And as the demand of the item increases, like we mentioned, fewer people actually sell the item, or they hoard the item, and wait for the price to just increase even more drastically. So the fewer people who are selling the item are able to determine the cost and make a profit. And these new costs, unfortunately, tend to be a lot higher, just like the bokeh example.
Like I mentioned earlier, I own bokeh. Wow, surprise. And like a little story, I'm really glad I bought it such a long time ago at like 8K when people were having such a hard time
Wow.
selling it. Like I thought 8K was so expensive back then. It was my most expensive item at the time. But I was so unaware that it would just completely jump in price to, I guess, 50K. I wrote 30K, but I guess it's 50K now.
Yeah.
And it just shows you an example that everything is just supply and demand. Like as soon as more people want it, it's just gonna raise in price. And by owning these in-demand items, you're kind of playing like a little game of like, should I sell it right now because it'll make a profit, or should I just wait and see if it'll keep rising, or should I just like sell it right now because it might drop later? So
Right.
it's really like complicated. Like you have to like kind of understand like the rises and drops like over time. Like it'll just take time for you to understand all that stuff. So personally, I'm not selling it. Like it'll give me a good
Right.
profit right
Oh,
now,
don't,
but,
yeah.
but like what if it rises again in the future, since it's like really popular right now? Since it jumped so far, it could jump again. Like you never know. But I don't know. I know it's complicated to learn, especially as a new player, but it's like essential when you start like owning more expensive items. Cause
For me, elites are normally players that have a lot of
sorry, that's
have
my
a lot
door.
of have a lot of money, items, and they're normally in like a top crew. I don't know about you, but the top crew that just comes to mind is Pizza Crew.
Yeah.
Um, like that's just the top crew I think of. I remember when Spades was around. Spades was a really big crew. I don't know if you remember them, but they dominated. Like, I'm sorry, like they really did. Like events, they literally slapped everyone's face. Like they really were out there. And everyone wanted to be in it. And the only thing I don't like the highrise does is that the only reward system they really give out is to top crews. Because for a while, I remember the whole like controversy, I guess you could say, around the whole Spades hoodie. Because it was like one of the first like custom items they made for a crew. And now they kind of do that now for like top crews. That's the only thing I don't like that highrise does, is that they reward the top players only.
Yeah.
I also think that elites are just a lot of people have a lot of time and money.
Sharing is caring. We all learned this in 2nd grade.
Sorry, my door keeps like opening and closing because my window's open, so you're gonna hear a lot of slamming of my door every now and then. I'm trying to fix it, but I can't. Okay, it just did it again. Okay. It looks like there's a house in my house.
Let's name him Fred.
Oh.
Fred, stop. Stop. This is
Fred, do you want to play highrise?
Okay.
I think he's angry at us.
He's like, I don't
"Stop
want to talk
talking."
about spending money. Oh my gosh.
He's in the same boat as us. He has no money.
Yeah.
Personally, I always felt really conflicted with the term elite, and I first started feeling conflicted with this when I think about like a year ago, someone was like, "You're my favorite elite," like just like straight up to me, and I was like, "I'm an elite?"
Right,
Like,
yeah.
what? And I don't know. I just think that highrise has given like the term elites a really bad connotation, because I see a lot of posts that are like, elites always do this and elites always do that and elites are always so mean and and they make elites seem like so much more different from everyone else, but in reality, like, they're human. We're all human. They're the same basically as, okay, hello Fred, they're the same as us basically. Like, the only thing to me that separates elites from like everyone else is just their items, and I know you guys already said that, but I'm sure like they worked hard for their items and everyone else can too. It's just like I mean, I don't know, but it's kind of like real life. Like, people start, from the bottom up, just like everyone else. Gotta like reiterate, everyone should help everyone no matter what. Like, no matter what you have, like, try to be kind to everyone no matter what like status they have or whatever.
Yeah, and that's actually interesting that you say that, do you guys remember when there was like a glitch in the spinners on beta, and a bunch of people, they using highrise own words, they exploited the bug. And then they got banned, and then suddenly all of High-Rise came together, and they just I mean, Explore was just full of posts like, "Thank goodness the elites are gone. Thank goodness.
That was gross.
We can
That was
finally live in peace. You know, they're ruining everything. High-Rise is now clean, free of any negativity and stuff. You know, and I think that's so hard on elites, like, at the same time. And I mentioned earlier that something that was pretty cool about, you know, elites is that the community of elites itself is so, like, close. You know, they always have each other's back. You know, if you notice, like, if an elite is, you know, involved in some sort of drama, which does happen pretty often actually, then a bunch of other people are there, you know, defending them, or like everyone's got their back, you know. And I think that's a big part of, you know, why some might be jealous of that, or, you know, some might not like them so much. And it's just, when it comes down to it, it's, like you mentioned, it's the same as real life, pretty much. It's real life, real problems. So
I remember that, like, period of time where everyone was, like, dissing elites as well, and I thought that was so, it just, like, made me so angry, because they don't, even if, okay, I have to admit, some elites are really bad people, like that's, like, period. There's some people you gotta stay away from that, like they're just bad, like, you know, bad to the bone. But, like, there are a lot of elites that are really good people, but everyone just thinks that they're so bad because they're connected to people that, you know, they don't like. And I think it's just really, hello, okay, door, I think it's really dumb to, like, separate elites from everyone else and see elites as, like, different people, different species and stuff. Like, you don't have to think of elites as bad guys just because they have more experience and more items, and just because they get easily frustrated with new players and stuff. Like, you don't, just because they're like that doesn't mean, like, they're like every other bad elite out there.
yeah.
You know?
Exactly, but, and, like, that's what I'm saying, like, the thing is that unfortunately a lot of people do treat them like they're the other guy, you know. They treat them like, oh, that's them and we're us, and, like, unfortunately that does create a lot of tension between players, and it sucks, but, you know.
I'm literally just, like, watching my door open and close at this point. It's just like, ooh.
He's having a party.
Does it stay closed, or, like, does it?
It.
Take as a no.
I think that answers the question.
Anyway.
He's just vibing.
He's just.
It's not that people essentially group elites and bad people together. It's just, I kind of think we all know who are the mean people. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but I just, you know, can think of the players I've interacted with that are just really mean and just happen to be elite.
Yeah.
Right.
Because, like, just because they're rich and have a lot of items doesn't mean they're gonna murder me, you know? Like, they could be the nicest people. And I've definitely met people who are considered elites that are very nice. You know, it's just the few people that spoil the bunch.
Like, we all know the certain people that are not that great, and you know what really sucks about them is that even if they're called out, they just still continue to be really bad. It just says more about them as a person, not about them and their items or them and their presence on High-Rise. It's just them. Like, they're problematic in themselves. Doesn't mean you have to assume everyone else is the same.
I'd say maybe 2 years ago when I did event and I was in a really big eventing crew, there was a lot of drama that went down between the elites, because at the time my crew was, like, in the top 3, 4, 5, something like that. And so I interacted with a lot of people who are considered elites at the time. And I just remember one constant fight between two players. And it was a lot of bullying, really. We'd all be invited into one room this player just so happened to be in, and two players just kind of just went head to head with each other, fighting over I don't even know what at this point. And I just think it's kind of crazy how, you know, other people support them. And just, I've seen comment sections of people getting in fights, and it's just like, it's so crazy. Like, just be nice to each other. Like, there's no reason to have beef. It's a game with virtual items that don't matter. Like, I don't know where you live. Like, you could be all the way, in Europe, and I would never meet you. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
Like, I think the only valid reason to get into any beef is if like it involves like real life stuff. But like even then, like handle it privately. Like no one needs to see all that. You can handle it privately. You can like report them if they're really like bothering you, and it there's no point. Like why do you bring it out into the public? No one cares. Like
I think the only thing that it's good to do, like maybe a month ago, I paid a girl because I try to do small artists, to give them a place to shine. And this girl, she did drawings, and I saw that she didn't tag anyone in her drawings. I'm like, try tagging them in it, whatever. And I was giving her tips. I also bought a drawing from her of me and my friend, and it turns out she stole the art from someone
gross.
else. And like, I think that's a correct time to kind of call someone out because you're not only letting them know it's not okay, you're also letting other people know. And I got many messages from people saying, I just bought from her, you know? But like, if it's
Okay.
something serious between you two, just stop. Like, just talk it out in DMs and get over it. Like, we're all adults here because we really are. Most players are, 15, 16 plus, like, just talk.
Speaking on the like stealing art stuff, there was a thing maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was like they were new players. There was like a crew of people, and they were going around and like reposting popular art bulls. I don't know how to say it. Like their commissions and stuff. And when you'd comment on it and say like this isn't yours, they'd be like, you know how much time and effort I put into this? And so one of my friends made a post saying how it's not okay, and one of the guys came clean and said he just wanted to have a good laugh. But the rest of them, it was like 6 of them. The rest of them haven't said anything. Don't steal art. Not cool.
Also, just don't try to cancel people because I think cancel culture, especially in the art community, is really popular right now. If you don't have proof that someone stole the art or, copied it or whatever, don't say anything. Just because a drawing may look too good to be theirs, look at their posts and see if like that's actually their art style. Just don't be so quick to cancel people. And like also who gives you the right to cancel people if you have no evidence?
Right.
So like in that case, definitely they have the right to be like, this is someone else's art, you stole it. Did you need a bunch of people getting up on one person? Not necessarily. But it's just cancel culture really needs to stop.
Let's go over our last topic for today, which is HR World, highrise World. So
Yay!
let's talk about what exactly is HR World and like what does it do? How is it helpful to people?
Alright, so a high-rise world is pretty much an item catalog for high-rise. So there's lots of information about pricing and sellers and stuff, but something that I do notice and that a lot of people have complained about is that the prices do seem to be inaccurate sometimes, and people think that just because someone comments on the price, it means that they're selling. So a lot of these just commenters are getting a lot of messages from random people saying, oh my gosh, like, are you selling this? Are you selling this? And they're like, no, like, I just commented the price. So this inconsistency annoys a lot of players, but the site is overall a good concept, I think.
You ready? If you're looking up an item on Highrise World, the column on the left is a list of people who are just suggesting or commenting a price. They're just listing what they think the price of the item is. It doesn't mean that they have it. It doesn't mean that they're selling. It's the column on the right though is the list of people that are actually selling it, who own and sell it. And those are the people that you need to talk to. I don't understand because the columns literally say the purpose of the columns. And I think it's really funny that high-rise can't read bios and they can't read the columns.
I think HR World is the most helpful thing. Like, if I didn't have it, I don't know where it would be. Because I've been in group chats before where it was like a whole listing based, and I always ask, how much should I make this price? And they'll just be like, I don't know,
Oh my
you
god.
know?
I hate
And I
that.
think it really helps, especially smaller players who don't have as much stuff, who just don't know how much things are, like very much help them. It also helps people not get scammed or overpay. And especially
Right.
you can like list if you're selling selling that item. I don't know how to do that yet. I haven't figured it out. But I think it's very helpful.
I usually
Interesting.
get kicked out of voice chats because I don't talk. I really like highrise world because I can just not talk to people.
If you don't want the hassle of price chats, just look it up on hrworld. And sometimes, it won't be accurate sometimes, but it'll give you like a general grasp on how much stuff is, like, and you can always confirm it with people. Like, you don't have to solely base your judgment on highrise world, but I don't know. I think it helps. I don't use it a lot anymore. I did when it came out, but I mean, I don't really have to use it a lot because I study SF Explorer like it's like I'm gonna take an exam on it. So like I'm always aware of this stuff, but like, for people who aren't as aware, it's really helpful. So going back on like inaccurate prices and stuff, sometimes I just don't get how hard it is to just list the correct price if you think it's wrong. Like sometimes like people will complain like, oh, HR World has inaccurate prices. Like why don't you just fix it then? Like like you're welcome to list your own prices. Like you don't have to listen to them. Anyway, I think it's just like just if you think something is wrong, be proactive about it. Like it'll help a lot of people in the future if you just like take that little bit of time to fix it right then and there. Is there anything else you guys want to say about this?
No, I think we pretty much covered some hot topics today.
Hot topics.
Yeah, and I really hope that if you're listening to this, you don't get offended by absolutely anything that was said today, because these are all pure like perspective-based answers, and yeah, like come join Highrise if you like this sort of thing. Yeah.
Yes, I know. I say in like a lot of episodes that like don't get offended just because my opinion doesn't agree with yours. Like it's just the purpose of the podcast is just to get people's opinions out there and just to like maybe like teach people like other views that that they haven't thought of. So never get offended, especially like there's no reason to get offended. We're not trying to attack you. Ooh, that concludes our episode for today. Wow. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Is there anything you guys want to say? Like any shout outs or any like last minute comments?
Gosh, wait, let me just shout out like my favorite people.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say her name right, so I'm just gonna say May. Her username is like MAUKA, and she makes amazing art. Love her. And then also Cassidy, Puppy Love 22.
That's so cute.
That is cute.
I'm more 8-ball with me. I'm waiting for you to respond. Also, buy my storefront. I'm poor.
Right.
I felt
Okay.
that
Yeah.
news.
No. Yeah. Buy all of our storefronts if you want
Yes.
to contribute to, like,
If you want to
us.
pay for our time. No, I'm just kidding.
Tips appreciated. Anyway. Yeah. Shout out to all the crews pretty much who just demolished the last couple of events. I know you guys spent a lot of money, a lot of time. Congrats, you guys. You guys are crazy.
I just want to shout out my best friend, Upi.
Oh, cute.
Yes.
UPY. She's an amazing artist. We're very good friends, and we've done collabs before. And I just wanted you guys to check out her stuff. She's very good, very talented, and
Yes,
bombard
she
her
is.
with commissions. She's bored.
Shout out to Fred. Woo! Anyway,
I miss you, Fred.
thank you guys so much for joining me. Thanks so much for taking the time to be here. I know this has been the longest recording out of all of my episodes, and it's gonna take me a while to edit, but I really appreciate your time, and thanks for joining me. It was really fun.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm gonna go eat some spaghetti.
And cut.
Alright guys, so we ended the call before I could record an outro, but I don't really have much to say other than if you're interested in signing up to speak on the show, feel free to fill out the form in the description below. Wow, little slogan, just kidding. But yeah, just feel free to sign up if you want. Everyone's, like I said, everyone's free to sign up. You can, even if you don't have much experience on high-rise, feel free. And, you know, maybe I might include you in a future episode. I'll see you guys with another episode probably next week with 2 verified people. And we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. So anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. Thanks for waiting and being patient, and thank you for all the support. I love you guys so much. You guys have given me so much motivation to keep on making videos, and I'm really grateful. So anyway, goodbye. Thanks for joining.
Okay, this is just like a personal question. Not personal, but this is like directed at like aerei. Is that how you say your name?
Sure,
Aerei?
the same thing.
Okay. All right. So I have heard a couple of people talking about the podcast, and like they absolutely love it. And what they like is that this is such like, I feel like it's like a family friendly like place to talk about all the not too intense topics on high rise, but I've heard some people like saying that they want to. Do you guys know like what like drama alert is like on YouTube or like
Yeah.
like that like,
Oh my
like they
gosh.
want that for high rise, and like I personally feel like I don't know, like how do you feel about that? Like if you were to see another podcast come out like about that, like how would you feel about that being, I think, like the first person to start a high rise podcast?
I think, you know what's really funny is when I was coming up with this podcast stuff, like I was talking with other content creators and they're like, you should be the Keemstar of High Rise, and I was like, yeah, I'll be the Keemstar of High Rise. But the thing is, I've always wanted to cover like drama, but like in a light way. Like I don't want to like you know, like encourage it, but I always wanted to cover it. But the thing is, like I never see drama. Like I'm always like not online when something happens, and people like people are always like, yo, why didn't you cover this thing? And I'm like, I never heard about it. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I don't know. I just never like came across like a story that has like a really big impact. Like I've seen like all those like little petty drama stuff, and I don't care. Like no one cares about that. But like I haven't come across like a big thing yet. And you know, I went over some kind of went over some drama like my first episode, and I think my fourth episode, there you go, I kind of went over drama, but like it wasn't that big. I don't know, I always like encourage people to tag me in drama. Like if they see something happening, like tag me so I can cover it, but like no one has. So
I feel like people on high rise anyway, if you get like every single person on high rise to like watch your podcasts or whatever, that would be a pretty big like interesting like topic, like a really grabbing topic.
I really try. Like I try to advertise this stuff as much as I can, because like all this stuff, okay, hello door, all this stuff that I'm saying right now, like I'd love for like the entire community to listen, because like everyone should be like educated about this stuff. Educated, that's a weird word to say, but educated about this stuff. But like, you know, I don't know, it just goes with promotion. Like every time like someone promotes the podcast, I feel so grateful, because I can't do it by myself, you know. I don't know, it's just nice. I don't know.
Yeah.
One day. I know that for sure, like, staff listen. Like, 100% I know staff listen to my podcast. And that's really
shoot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Okay. No, yeah.
Alright, guys, getting banned tomorrow.
No, yeah. Like, oh, shit. Okay, so, like, okay, sorry. I'm just, like, talking hypothetically here. So, like, if you were to create a drama-based podcast, you would have to, like, pretty much, like, not show your name then, right?
I don't care. I would.
I
would do it. I literally don't care.
I mean, if you became a drama based, I feel like high rise would either love it or they take your badge away or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
If I were to cover drama, like I don't think, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like with drama, I'm not like a person to like. I'm more of like a focus on the facts kind of person. Like I don't really like putting my opinion and stuff into drama and stuff. So even if I did cover it, like, I don't care if my name's out there. Like, I don't care what people think of me. Like, I'll do it. I don't care. But I just haven't seen any stories yet. I've always thought about it, because I don't mind, like, calling out people's names. I don't mind doing all that stuff. It's just that it hasn't happened yet, so.
Right,
you know,
right.
Maybe one day. Pick up the mic.